Hello, BookTube. It's Tuesday, and that means Tag Tuesday, and I was tagged. I was tagged in an original tag. The tag was made by Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff. It's called the Paris Book Tag. And I was tagged by Ann Novella, and went to her channel and was utterly charmed, and then saw that she doesn't have as many subscribers as she could. You would like her channel too, so by all means, I'll leave a link to both. Go and subscribe. And this is all about Paris. This is all about the City of Light. So I went into it with a little bit of trepidation because France in general and Paris in particular have never really done it for me. I've been many, many, many times to over every inch of France, but also to Paris many, many times. And also once, a long time ago, I had an offer, the kind of offer that I tried never to turn down. A beautiful young person, friend, said, I've got all this room, feel free to stay. Feel free to stay and really get to know Paris. Really get to know the city had completely captured his heart, young as he was. And he said it takes time to get to know the city. He lectured me that all great cities are like that. And that's entirely true. All great cities are like that. All great cities have personalities of their own. It's no longer a question of you live in Boston, but you live with a city like Paris, and that's not the same phenomenon, and it does take time to learn. I know that he was right about that. And the offer of space from someone who is dog tolerant, I didn't take him up on it. It was rare instances where I didn't, because Paris had done nothing for me at all. I had only negative experiences. I don't know why that is. I've heard it said that the truly great cities, the ones where you capitalize the word city, have psychoactive properties on the people who live with them. That, for instance, that everyone in Rome thinks they can be wealthy. Rome makes you think you can be wealthy. New York makes you think you're important. And the phrase that I've heard about Paris is that it makes you think you're beautiful. And that ship has long since sailed for me. Maybe that's why we didn't get along. That Paris was trying to whisper something in my ear that just did not work. One way or the other, I thought I'd give the tag a try. So prompt number one is, what was the last book you read set in Paris? I've got the iPad mini here. And that would be The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, which I've mentioned on this channel a couple of times. Not a bad little thriller. Number two is, what words can't be translated into English? I have, in my life, largely revolted against the idea that there's anything in one language that can't be translated into another. All languages are relatively infinite and infinitely flexible. That's just the way linguistics works. It's not like you cross a border into some new country and suddenly you're the type of human who doesn't want something to express this thing in your head. So I was trying to think of things like that, not so much that can't be translated, but that can't be translated as quickly, as adroitly. And one of the things that I came up with is l'esprit d'escalier. L'esprit d'escalier is a French term for the wit of the staircase. And what it means, it's the picture that it's evoking is that it's only when you've left the salon, it's only when you've left the dinner party and are on the stairs on your way home that you suddenly think of the perfect retort, the perfect thing you should have said in the moment. Your mind went blank. Then it's only on the stairs leaving at night that you realize, that would have been the perfect response. And the sort of the gist of l'esprit du escalier is that in the recounting of the evening, most people will elevate the spirit of the staircase to the position of what they actually said. It's usually easy to tell when that's the case. It's usually, if the response is too good to be true, it is too good to be true. Many raconteur and storyteller falls prey to that. And the French phrase, l'esprit du escalier, there is a word for it in English. No one ever uses it. I think that the word in English is afterwit, but no one ever uses it. If you used it, you'd have to explain what it meant, which is, means it's a false usage. I don't think there is not only a phrase that fits in English as adroitly as this one does in French, but also one that connotes as well. This doesn't just say something, it also connotes something. It connotes the the bitterness of the perfect reply coming to you later. All of that is contained in the phrase, and I don't think that English has any phrase like that. The phenomenon is the same, but you need more words to describe it in English. Then let's see here. Number 3 is, do you have a favorite book in translation? My all-time favorite answer to this is probably Aubrey de Selincourt's translation of Livy, of the books of Livy that deal with the Second Punic War and the campaigns of Hannibal. It's in the Penguin Classics. It's called The War with Hannibal, and I absolutely love it. I could also say the same thing about most of this author's translations, but also on my mind there is a later translation. Ann Novella did an enormous translation of the Italian novel M, Son of the Century by Antonio Scarlatti, which is great. The novel is great, and her translation is amazingly good. Just amazingly good. As I've been saying almost from the beginning, I wasn't even finished with reading the book originally in English before I was saying this translation deserves an award on its own. It's an amazing, amazing feat. I also want to take the opportunity to recommend the book again, although it's not French. Let's see here. Question number 4 is, have you read books in other languages? Yes. Question number 5 is, Jules Verne studied at law school in Paris. Do you have a favorite book by Jules Verne? I would be thrown right out of the club if I didn't say 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I've read that book more times than I can count and love it every time. Even in bad English translations, I still love it. Let's see here. Prompt number 6 is, do you have a favorite movie set in Paris? There are a million of them, and I know that I'm behind the French cinema. Does nothing at all for me. Nothing at all. I wish I could make this a love letter to France and especially to Paris, but that spell, which I have known to work on so many people, has never worked with me. It never did. Nothing about it. Some of the people, yes, but otherwise, no. The one that came to mind is Love in the Afternoon, Billy Wilder's ineptly directed, morose, leaden, dumb, predictable movies. There's lots of shots of Paris. That's the one that came to mind, but that's from half a century ago, more. So there are probably much, much better, more recent examples that I'm not thinking of. Best just to move on, but moving on doesn't get us far, because the next prompt is, do you have a favorite French car? Ann Novella not only goes over a few French cars, but includes pictures of them and has stories about them. And I don't drive. I've never driven. I've never sat behind the wheel of a car in my life. I have no idea how to do it. And not only do I not do that, but maybe hand in hand with that, I don't get cars. I can barely tell one apart from another, even at close range. It's just a complete blur to me. I've been in cars many times with drivers who will say, hey, look at that, isn't that interesting? And I honestly scan the whole road thinking, what on earth could they be picking out? These are just cars. All of these things are just cars. That's a fault of mine, of course. I have not sharpened my eye to be able to tell the difference. I certainly wouldn't be able to recognize any kind of a French car. I don't know types of cars at all. So I honestly don't have an answer to this, not even an outdated one. Then prompt number 8 is, have you been to Paris? I have, many times. And, thinking back, I should have taken that invitation. It's if you are traveling and you are with your dogs, so there is nothing calling you back home, nothing at all. If you're traveling and you're with your dogs and a beautiful young man says, would you like to stay here? You stay. You say yes. Your answer, I've said this to myself many times when I was traveling, the answer to that question is always yes. Even if it sours and ends poorly, there'll still be great time before then. And for some reason, one of the only times I've ever done it, I said no. And I wish that I hadn't. I wish I had. Maybe Paris would have worked on me. Maybe what I needed was a lot more time than I gave it. But anyway, have you been to Paris? Yes. When was the last time you visited Paris? It was quite some time ago. Let's just put it that way. Pierre Mauroy. Do any of you know that name, Pierre Mauroy? That will give you a rough idea. Prompt number 9 is, do you have a favorite French painter or painting set in Paris? I immediately wanted to blurt out Fragonard, because when I used to, over the years, I would drag people to the Frick collection in New York, which is a huge number of Fragonard, and no late 20th century, 21st century art observer of any kind looks at those paintings and says, oh, how exquisite. They have degenerated in the popular imagination into kitsch. and there's no way to move them out of that. So I used to love to drag people there and then rhapsodize about those particular paintings. But I do have that would be just to pull the nose of the connoisseurs. I do actually have a favorite, and that is Gérôme. Probably slaughtering the Parisian pronunciation. Gerome is the name of the painter I dearly, dearly love. I dearly love that painter. There are a few paintings by Jean-Léon Gérôme that I have not seen with my eyes, directly. There are a few of his paintings that I haven't seen. I think they're amazing, just amazing. I could talk about them endlessly. The ones that are, for instance, here in Boston, I could talk about endlessly with you. So beware of going to art museums with me. I strongly advise, if you think that French painting begins, continues, and stops with blurry, out of focus paintings of water lilies, I strongly urge you to look at Gérôme, Gerome, and see if maybe you don't like some of his paintings. And then prompt number 10 is, do you have a favorite French writer? And the French are an amazing, sophisticated people. They are an amazing, sophisticated body of literature. My first answer is not sophisticated. Of course, I want to say Alexandre Dumas. I absolutely love. I've never read anything by the author that I didn't love. That's very, very lowbrow. But when it comes to the kind of DNA deep thrill that a truly great work of literature can give you, I'm going to have to, much affection as I have for Dumas, I'm going to have to say Stendhal. Stendhal comes out ahead of any other French writer for me. And that is it. That is the Paris book tag. All it's left for me to do is tag people, and I want to tag everybody. As I always feel like when I tag specific people, a whole bunch of other specific people think I'm not tagging them, and I am. So feel free to do this, and I will leave links to Jim's channel and also to Ann Novella's channel, so that you can go and watch the one and subscribe to the other. And that is it. That is my tag for Tag Tuesday. We'll wrap this up for now, but I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.